Hey, welcome, welcome. Come on in to moments of inspiration, moments of empowerment. You're welcome to come in. We're just grateful and we just thank God for life itself. We are so blessed. And I want to thank you for your support and just following us even through the summer. And thank you for asking me about the replays and reposts. It's been good. I think last week we were looking at the blended blend with the Meisenheimers. They were quite candid with dealing with blended relationship, blended situations, and just let people know if you want to go back and watch it on YouTube, you can do that as well. Also, our series is winning in spite of the challenge. And how many know we've had challenges? Now, if you haven't, just tune into my world. There's been challenges everywhere we look. But the thing we know is we serve a God who loves us and he cares, and nothing catches him by surprise. So this has been an interesting season, a new way of life. But guess what? God is a champion in every phase of life. So we are excited. And we have a great guest with us today. And I am excited for my sister, Dr. Rhonda Smith. And met her just, I should say, about a year or two ago. I had an opportunity. I said, wow, look at that sharp lady with the cutesy hair. And we met each other at Dayton chapter of the Links. Yes. We were there and I gave her a wave. You know me, I love people, especially people that look like they got a little array about them and you can tell they're God's people. Then when I saw her on Facebook and she was posting all that about Jesus, I said, yeah, that's the girl. That's the girl. We got to hook up. So I thank God that we had that opportunity. And then the Lord brought us even closer together, just even recently in the last few months. They're at Central State University. We had an opportunity. She's working there, just giving her giving her all in all to the students. And I had the privilege of being a counselor and specializing in grief counseling. And she's there working with them as a nurse practitioner. Let me tell you a little bit about her, and I do mean a little bit. She has a lot. Dr. Rhonda is a certified adult nurse practitioner, and she is a doctor of neuropathy. I think I'm saying it right, neuropathy, certified life coach, and a certified clinical trauma and behavioral health person specializing in addictions. Now, that's something we are dealing with in our community at an escalating rate. It really has. It's just, it's all over the place. And I'm sure if it hasn't been in your family, it sure has been in mine. And I'm sure it's friends in your neighborhood. And the good part is she's owner of both the renowned healthcare services. She's owner and CEO of the renowned healthcare services. And she's authored several books, and she will talk about those later. And they're dealing with, and I think two of them you published, am I correct? Mm-hmm. She published two of them herself. Okay, she's, as I forestated, a member of the Dayton chapter of the Links, and that's just a great service group that believes in serving and helping our community. Okay, and guess what? She's honoree at the WBIN Powerful Women of Impact 2022. So look, I'm glad to be in her presence. I'm glad to be in your presence, Dr. Rhonda. Okay, she's passionate about doing her part in helping with to restore women. She specializes in toxic relationships, abusive relationships, and we're going to talk about winning in spite of a toxic relationship. And I like her motto, which she says about herself. It is, I don't look like what I've been through, and I have God to thank for it. So help me welcome Dr. Rhonda Smith. Now, I don't have a clap track, so you just help me clap. Come on. Let's welcome her. Come on in, Dr. Rhonda Smith. God bless you.
Thank you, Dr. Bell.
Okay, and if you can just tell us a little bit about Dr. Rhonda Smith.
Sure. So I am a nurse practitioner, an adult nurse practitioner. I'm also a doctor of naturopathy. I'm a certified life coach, and I went into being a life coach because it's so important to me to help people understand what life is about. Um, so that's why I decided to do that. I'm a mother of one daughter. My daughter's a nurse. She just became a doula, and I'm so proud of her. I have one grandson, and he is a graphic artist. He's done all my books, my videos. Um, I'm also passionate. Like you said, I'm passionate about women's health, especially hurting women. Yeah. Because I feel like they need to be empowered to take their power back. A lot of them don't even realize that they don't have power because sometimes it's unconscious.
And what I should say, what was the inspiration behind this passion? There has to be something that, as they say, kind of causes us or spurs us on to go into an area.
Absolutely. First of all, I have to say it wasn't something I chose to do. Okay. What I was doing, I was at Wilberforce as a medical director of the health center, and so I was taking care of students. And then one summer, I said, I think I want to go into the prison just to do some part-time work to see if I liked it. And once I got into the prison, DCI, Dayton Correctional Institution, I started seeing women come in there boatloads, handcuffed and crying and hurt about relationships. And I thought, wow, I was more interested in what happened to them than them coming to see me for their medical problem. So as I started looking at that and realizing that all of them was kind of coming in for relationships, I decided to dig deeper. And when I decided to dig deeper into it and start classes on it, also start looking at my relationships because I was going through a divorce at the time. But I didn't realize how entangled I was, realizing this is some of the same things they went through on a different level because there's different levels.
Sure.
So that's where my passion came from and what it fueled from is because just seeing so many women hurting, don't know why, don't have a clue, and still psychologically attracted to that mate.
And you wanted to see, I'm sure, like they say, I want to see someone healed. When you see hurting, it's I don't know. You can see the pain. You can feel the pain.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
At that point, you were saying, why is there such a large group of people with the same pain?
Absolutely. So I kept researching it, and I found out that in 2016, June 1st, which is called World Awareness Narcissistic Abuse Day. And what has happened is this has been out for so long, but now they're starting to make people aware of it because these relationships are real.
Yes.
People are committing suicide. They're depressed. They're having nervous breakdowns. And so I thought, okay, God, what do you want me to do with this? I mean, because it was mind-boggling to me. Then I started Self-Love Breakthrough to a New You. And that's a group that I started in the prison. And when I started it the first time, it was so packed. And these women that were in there, Dr. Bev, saying, oh my God, why didn't somebody tell me this? But it was too late. They were already locked up. But it's still not too late to free their minds, their hearts, and their souls.
You can be free within prison. And many people that are outside of prison, we are still in prison. And we're what you would classify as free.
Right.
But we thank God, and I'm glad you're a Christian, where you can see beyond, because the Word of God says, "He who the Son set free is free indeed." So God has a way to help us in this situation wherever we are, wherever we find ourselves. And one of the worst things we can do is be closed mouthed about what is occurring in our lives. Find someone, go to a counselor, find a group, do something that will get you out of the situation. Sometimes it's no sense in pretending it doesn't exist or saying, oh, after a while it's going to get better.
Right.
If I only,
Mhm.
if I only do this. And you can help us with what defining a toxic relationship. What is a toxic
So a
relationship?
toxic relationship is when you're in a relationship with somebody that's draining you. You're
Okay.
tired mentally, physically. You're being cursed at. You're being cheated on. You're
Okay.
being lied to, and you just sit there like, oh my God, what is this? Anything that drains your energy is toxic, and
Okay.
it's the opposite of a healthy one. A healthy relationship is loving, caring, sharing,
Mm,
upholding each other, being in mutual.
okay.
Of course, people are going to get into arguments and things are going to happen,
Sure.
but in a toxic
Life. Yeah.
relationship, it's unbelievable. It's
Wow.
unbelievable. You know something's
And
wrong.
and can it be? Some people say, well, it's not toxic because I'm not being physically abused. But
Right, right.
but is there also a level of verbal abuse?
Absolutely. Verbal and mental. A
Hmm.
narcissistic abuse is a silent abuse. And so many
Okay.
people stay in it because there's no scars. It's a mental abuse. And you're like,
Mm,
I feel like I'm crazy. And you're
wow.
on this roller coaster. You don't know what it is. So you stay on it because it's mental. It's invisible to you. You know something's wrong, but you don't know what.
Okay. Wow. And what
Mhm.
are some of the signs and symptoms of
Of a
a
toxic
toxic
relationship.
relationship? Yes.
Um, I always tell people, and this is what the woman in prison was like, oh my God, because in an abusive relationship, there's always three stages I talk about.
Okay.
And the first stage is the honeymoon stage. It happens really fast.
Okay.
It's like, because a narcissist and a codependent are attracted to each other. They're like magnets. And it's because
Okay.
of their core that's wounded. So they get together in the first stage, and it's the honeymoon stage, and this is when they're making
Okay.
love, and the hormones are popping off, and that's the
Okay.
addiction phase.
Okay.
Dopamine is a hormone like a drug addiction.
Yes.
You just get together, and it's like wham,
Okay.
and then he's telling you how beautiful you are. Oh, you're so beautiful, you're so fine, girl. I
Mm.
ain't never had nobody like you before. So
Wow.
you're like
It
me,
doesn't even matter if they're slapping you upside the head, but
not in the
they're
first. They ain't gonna do that
oh,
in the
that's
first
not going
stage
to be the first stage.
because they got mask
Okay.
on. They keep
Okay.
that mask on.
Okay.
Then the second stage is the
Because they hook
devaluation.
you.
That's right. That's
Okay.
the hooking stage.
Okay.
That's the stage where you have just been hooked to. I
Okay.
call it the crack stage. I'm
Mm.
hooked on this crack
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
The second stage is the devaluation stage because now they say I got
Okay.
to wear. Or it happens to men and women. I got
Okay.
them where I want them now, so they take the mask off, and it's like
Okay.
you're like, what's wrong? You're not here anymore. You're not around, and they're saying, oh, you get
Okay.
on my nerves. Why don't you go put on something sexy? You didn't, and then they're thinking, oh my God,
Okay.
my hair is too long, or I'm too fat. They do anything they can to try to get
Mm.
back to that first stage.
Okay. Okay. You're
And
a work in progress of, okay. It's almost like you say, dope.
that's
I
right.
need to get back to that.
You
And
want that
so
stage, and you
what's
want that
wrong
hit
with
again.
me?
That's right.
What's wrong with me?
So they'll do anything. They'll sit there, and this is a codependent. A codependent is a person that gives a whole lot of love, respect, and care without getting it
Okay.
back. And if they don't get it back, they'll still keep giving it and giving it, hoping they're going to get it. So in that second
Wow.
stage, they're like, okay, I'm gonna be good. I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm gonna be silent because
Okay.
that first stage is coming, and they'll give you back and forth. But then
Okay.
the third
So
stage,
sometimes you can
right?
kind of
Sometimes they'll
maybe
give it to
get a
you,
little
and that's how they get you
affirmation
hooked.
and
So
okay.
now you've been trauma bonded because now that second stage, first stage, second stage, first stage. Then the third stage is the
Okay.
evaluation stage. And
Okay.
that's when they just sometimes are gone, missing in action. They'll come back and you'll sit there and wait. And there's two type of codependence. There's an active and there's a passive.
Okay.
The active one will follow you, bust your windows out,
Ooh.
and say to you, buy you clothes, do all that, just don't go nowhere. And I had a lot of women that are in prison because of that. They might have followed the man, had something on his car, and then
Wow.
snap. Now they're in prison. He did, so it's really sad.
So in other
It's
words,
really sad.
they become really angry,
Oh
and
yes,
so then when they're angry, they'll just do anything. In
at
other
that
words, they
moment,
allow
at
the
that moment,
emotions to just drive
absolutely
you.
drive them crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
But the passive one will sit there and just wait for you to come
Okay.
back, and okay,
Mm,
just as long as you don't leave me, you know.
I need you.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Can't live without them because they have become entwined to that person. So they don't even know who they are. They don't
Wow.
know who they are.
And so these are like, can you repeat those three stages again
Hmm.
so that
Sure.
perhaps if
Hmm.
we are around it, or maybe even mothers see this happening
Hmm.
to their child.
Right.
Like you said,
Right.
it can be male and female.
It
I've
can
seen
be.
both.
Yes, it
Both.
can be.
Yeah.
It can be both. Yeah. So the first stage is the honeymoon stage, and that's the stage where they're
You
getting you
whining and
hooked in
dining.
because they
Yeah.
already know what they're going to do. They know what you like because you're telling them your whole life, and they use
Wow.
that against you later. But that's the first stage. And the second stage is the evaluation stage because they're going to be doing that anyway. It's when they call
Okay.
you names, curse you out, don't want to be bothered with you, and you don't
Shun
know.
you.
And
Okay.
it's like, but I need that crap you just gave me in that first stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
What happened?
know, right?
What
So,
I think what happens probably, I can just imagine,
hmm,
is I see a lot of women that feel like I'm uniquely and fatally flawed.
hmm,
What's wrong with
right,
me?
and they make sure they make you
We
feel that way.
there's I've done everything I can do for you,
Hmm.
so it's got to be something wrong with me.
Right, right, absolutely. And people always think if you're smart and you're beautiful, it has
Right.
nothing to do with that. This narcissistic abuse syndrome will touch anybody at any level because it's a
Mm,
core problem, you know. And a lot of
okay.
people, when they hear about it now, it's like, oh my God, I've never heard of that, and that's what I'm going through. And
Right.
that's why I think it's easier to teach people in prison because they're on a sale.
Okay.
So they can't go nowhere and they're listening to this. And I have a client that was in the prison because I was doing something on Zoom. And she
Hmm.
was like, that's the person that was teaching me when we were here. And she
Right.
reached out to me through reentry board. And she said, I need that class because if not, I'm going to go back out to this person because I don't understand what to do. And
Okay.
so
It's like
she's
you're
out and
hooked.
she's in my class, right? And
Okay.
she's so thankful because this is real. This psychological thing is real. It truly is.
Wow. So, what would you say to a person that maybe you, as a therapist, you recognize, okay, you're at, say, stage two, and you're really not listening,
Hmm.
and you're saying it.
Hmm.
How do you help them to?
You, what happens with that is you can't because
Okay.
when a person
Okay.
is in stage two, they're not going anywhere. It's like that addict on the street shooting dope,
Okay.
and you're
Okay.
trying to tell them what it's I deal with addiction and codependency, and the addicts tell me it's easier to get off that drug than that person because I can give them Suboxone to block that brain of thinking, but I can't
Okay.
give them a Tom, Joey, or another person, and that person is who they're addicted to. So in the second stage, there's
Wow.
nothing. Maybe the third, because in the third stage, when they discard them, if you can get them, because a lot of them will go
Okay.
back and forth to another man with a different mask, but the same core,
The same. Yeah.
you
There.
know, or they'll go through pathological loneliness or pathological codependency where they sit there and it's like, I'm done. I'm done with men. I'm done, but they don't heal. So as soon as that person comes 6 months to a year, boom, they right back
They're
in that
right
same
back.
relationship.
They can't. In other words, they're so addicted that they.
And they don't realize that though.
Wow.
They
That's
don't.
that's deep.
It is.
Have you seen people um, that, like you said, that is at that level that come out of
Hmm.
it?
I have. I have, and the ladies that I and a lady that I work, I did something called under covered by the mask, and one person didn't have the mask on because they were healed, and another one did keep hers on because she wasn't ready.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had people now be only because the only reason only way they heal is no contact.
Mm.
Because if you educate a
Okay.
person and let them know what is really going on, they're first
Mm-hmm.
of all they're baffled. Like, how do you know all that? Because I'm telling them everything that has happened, so they know I'm telling them the truth,
Mm-hmm.
and they really want out. Those people that are being strong and a lot, and this one lady has a child. She don't want her daughter to see that because it's a generational thing. So she's
Mm-hmm.
trying to break that generational curse now. She's doing great. I mean, it's a process, but she hasn't been with him in a year.
That's
She
good.
had to change and block her number because
Wow.
if
You
you
have to really
don't,
block it.
ooh,
You have to block it.
If not, they're coming right back.
If you leave that one, as you say, you leave that one opening.
That's right. You got to stop.
Just to hear the voice.
You got to stop everything. And it's triggers, you know. So
sure.
People may hear or see a black truck and be like, oh, my God, he has a black truck. I mean, it's really real. Or that cologne smells like that person did. Mm-hmm. But it's so painful that people
that almost makes me think when you say that of even it's almost familiar with the loss of a loved one. Because and you're going along just fine, and you smell a cologne that smell like theirs, and it's 10 years later, you have a meltdown.
That's true.
You go back to where you were. You the mind is a real. I put it like this: the mind is just so such a, should I say, it's intelligent, but it's such a I should say such a machine. That's what I call it. The mind can play tricks on you so well that your eyes and everything else can know the truth. We get in an example. We get in a virtual ride. You know good and well you're not going anywhere. You're sitting right there in that seat, and you get in the virtual ride and you start grabbing it. It's around, not true. Yeah. And you knew it wasn't true when you sat in there and paid your money. That's right. But that the mind is a powerful machine. It is. And it can take you places.
It will. It can.
Oh God, can it take you places?
Yes.
I think that's what the Bible said. Let the mind that's in you be renewed.
That's right.
Because if
you
it
have
isn't,
to renew it. You got. You're right. Absolutely. You do. Wow. You have to renew it. And that's why people, you know, when people stay in these relationships, they're ashamed. They're embarrassed. You know, and that's why I tell people, you know, don't down them or talk about them. Pray for them because they are trauma bonded to something they want out of, but they settle because they don't know how to get out.
They don't know how.
And they don't want to go through the pain or the loneliness.
Okay. Kind of defined for us codependency.
Okay, so what does that look like? A person is one that is a people pleaser. She wants everybody to be happy. She's going to give, or him, she's going to give so much love and respect. And look what I did for you. And here's your dinner. And I earned you clothes and everything. And even if she's not happy and she's drained, she's going to keep doing it because she's trying to get that love. That's codependent. Her life depends on that person. If you don't make me happy, then I'm not going to be happy. That's codependent behavior.
Well, it's kind of like if you live, as we said, if you live for affirmation, if you live for approval, then you'll die after rejection.
Absolutely.
Because you can't handle being rejected. And I mean, it's sad when you see it beyond a relationship, just in life. People that we don't know who we are.
Right.
And that's why I believe one of the commandments was love your neighbor as yourself. That means we got to love us first. And that's why I'm glad you have the ministry of self-love.
But a lot of people don't know what that is. They'll say, well, tell me, how do I love myself?
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, it was a hard process because I always thought that loving yourself means getting your nails done, combing your hair, that has nothing to do with it.
And dressing it up.
Right. Love is deep inside. Love is having self-worth. Love is having self-esteem. It's having boundaries. It's saying, no, you cannot treat me like that. First of all, you got to know whose child you are. Once you know you're a child of God,
all right.
You already know right there because he's going to teach you that. You know, he's going to teach you. You are my. I used to say, do you know who I am? And the Lord said, do you know who you are? Because if you did, you would be asking him.
Wow.
You know, so, and it was hard. It wasn't easy. It was hard going within saying, okay, why am I in this relationship? Or why am I doing this? Lord, show me how to change this. And when he did, it's powerful. You can't never accept that anymore. You can't even be in a relationship because brokenness attracts brokenness. And once you're whole, you attract wholeness. And it's nothing like feeling good and loving yourself.
Wow.
Nothing like
And
that.
when you have your classes, should I say, on self love, usually what is the initial part that you do? Um, in other words, the awareness piece where you start. How do you do that?
Well, first I start with I talk about toxic relationships. So first I tell them what a codependent is, what a narcissist is, and why there is a magnet attraction.
Okay. Just explain before you go there. Explain narcissistic behavior. We hear the gaslighting. We hear all of this. Explain what have we been missing all these years? Obviously, it's not anything new, but we have not labeled it.
But they've just been talking about it a lot now. So when I talk about a narcissist, there's different types, and I talk about those in my book. But I'm going to be talking about a pathological narcissist. A pathological narcissist is a person that comes to kill, steal, and destroy. They mean to hurt you. So they're liars, they're cheaters, they're manipulators, they're gaslighters.
Wow.
They want you to think you're crazy. You ever seen the movie The Gaslight? That when the called the gaslighting. Well, this guy was turning the light on and off on his wife, and she was like, "Oh my God, you see the lights flicker?" And he said, "I don't see nothing flickering." But he just kept doing it. He was driving her nuts, and so that's why they call gaslighting, because psychologically they really try to make you think you're crazy, and then you start to think that. There's an overt narcissist and a covert. The overt narcissist is one that's open. He's got a nice body. He's the life of the party. Everybody think he's fine. He's so nice. So when you tell somebody what's going on, they be like, "Oh, he's nice."
No.
But on the other hand, he told everybody you crazy. So everybody looking at you. And the covert narcissist is one that's a clergyman. They're doctors. They're to be trusted.
They're in other words, they can be in a professional suit.
Absolutely. But they got a hidden agenda.
Wow.
And those are the ones that comes very hard, because you're like, "But I thought you were," and it's not.
And the way I feel, and you tell me, am I correct in this? A narcissist to me is a statistic person, I should say. They feel to me like they're all that, and that I'm looking for you to bow down to me.
They act like
I
that.
don't.
Yeah, and
don't take.
And they do want you. They do act like they're grandiose, but deep down, they're little hurt little boys. They have no self-esteem. They're scared. They have fear. That's why they act grandiose. But
so, in other words, you're saying they're putting on this facade.
Absolutely. Okay. And they taught how to act. So if you have say a kid was so hurt by their parents, a narcissist, they're angry. And a lot of them are angry at their mom. So they're so angry. So as they get older, they watch how people are supposed to act. So they know how to put on that illusion and that facade. Until the second stage, that mask comes off, and it's like, and you be like, "Oh, I mean, it's shocking." Yeah. But they know what they're going to do when they get you. It's all planned.
They're grooming you for their purpose and their agenda.
And if you're smart and you make money, then you're going to make them look good on their arms, and they'll have you, as their partner, because you make them look good. A narcissist is looking to take your shine because they don't really feel that. Not at all.
Wow. Is it a possibility that they can become aware of who they really are and say, I want change. I want to change.
I think that God can heal anybody who wants to be healed.
That's good.
But with a narcissist, it's so hard because the pain that they have to go through to see who they are, it's too hard. So a lot of them aren't willing to. Now, different stages are, but the pathological narcissist
that's really.
And sometimes they don't think nothing's wrong with them. It's you. If you change and be quiet and do what I need you to do, we'll be all right. So
it's
right,
you.
Right, yeah. Absolutely.
Well, that's amazing. Now, can we? I interrupted you.
That's okay.
If you can go back to how you handle that, how you.
So what I do is I get them to understand that this is a core problem. This is a problem that we got to go back through your childhood. We got to dig deep to the root and find out why, first of all, you're codependent. Because with a codependent, they want to find out what's wrong with the man. How can I fix him? How can I
All
get
right.
him to love me and go back to the first stage? So
Okay.
they're reading about him and him and
Okay.
him, and it's
Okay.
about me.
All right.
Let's we have to do the work on us. So I
Mm,
start to get them to go back through their core, and then they start looking
okay.
at, wow, I do remember my mom
Now,
doing
do you
that.
do this more on a, should I say, an individual
Hmm.
counseling
Absolutely.
session? Is
I do some classes together,
Oh,
like
you can do
individually,
some groups.
because when you start getting to the core, it's
It's
private.
deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so once they start seeing that, and everything I tell them, they see that it happens. They're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to really, really dig deep into this. Not
Mm,
all of them.
okay.
Some of them don't want to let go of that drug, so they'll go back to that person and be drained. So I start there, and then I start talking about self love, self
Okay.
care,
Now, do
self
they get,
esteem.
and like you said, they'll go back.
Hmm.
Do they have the opportunity to come back
Oh, a
sometime
lot of
after
them
that?
do.
Okay. All
A
right.
lot of them go. It's like a drug. I have so many clients that'll come to me, and I'll write Suboxone, and they're doing great. And then
Okay.
if something triggers them, I won't see them. And when they come back, they got
Mm,
everything in their urine. Same thing with that woman. Oh, he's
wow.
with somebody else again. He didn't cheat on me. I need your help. And then as soon as he sucks her back in, she's gone like that.
Wow.
And then they get so embarrassed that they stay.
Wow.
But that's why it needs to be so much education on it. If they just understood, if they just
So
understood,
you just start with helping them to understand what codependency
right, and
is.
what has happened in the generational curse. And I always tell them
Wow.
it's not about a shame or a blame game. It's about a change game. We always
Right.
want to say, my dad or my mom, well, let's change it. We can change it with the word of God. We can change this. God said, I want you to teach and I'll reach. Because I can teach you, but you got to let God reach you in order to renew your mind,
Right. Right.
your soul, your spirit.
Wow. That's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Mhm.
If I can get you for a moment to talk a little bit about the Dream Center and what it entails. I'm so grateful and excited
I am
for
too.
your new opportunity,
I
new
am
vision,
so
new
excited.
purpose,
I am.
and
Yeah.
as I say, new organization.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
I am so
Yeah.
excited because a couple of years ago, the Lord told me to write a vision, and I did. It was the
Hmm.
Dream Center. It had everything that this Dream Center has in it. I thought it was going to
Okay.
be my Dream Center.
Okay.
I had mental health, I had dentistry, because with the clients that are addicted, they're ashamed to go out anywhere because people demean them. So I wanted them to have a
Okay.
one-stop shop where they can come in, and
Okay.
there's dentistry here, there's case managers here, and we all love you. I feel like we should
Mm.
love people back to life. People need love.
Wow.
If they had that, oh my God. But these people are out there and they're embarrassed. So the
Hmm.
Dream Center, when I found out about it at the church and I had wrote this vision, God, I was like, okay,
Mm.
God, so I'm supposed to just be in it, not own it, which is
Right.
fine.
Right. Right.
So the Dream Center is a place that is on East Third Street, and in there
Hmm.
we have places where they can go and get food. They have clothes. We have
That's
childcare.
nice. Great.
We teach them how to get jobs.
Hmm.
We have addiction in there, case managers.
Hmm.
We have people that have been sex trafficking. We have somebody
Mm.
in there to help them with that. It's just a center where everybody can come in with their children and get help. They have a place where the kids can play, they have child care. It's
Wow.
really unreal. It's like a dream come true. It is
Wow. That
wonderful.
is
And I'm going to be teaching my class there too, my self love
good.
breakthrough there.
And where
Yeah.
does it, can you, when does it open or
It's
is it
open
already
now.
open
Hmm.
now?
It's
Okay.
open now.
All right.
Hmm.
And they just come there and your portion of it is,
So the part I do is addiction, um, for substances and relationships. So that's the
okay.
part I do, and I may start doing some general family stuff because a lot of them have hypertension and
Okay.
things like that that they need taken care of.
So
So we're
they
going to
might
start
need
adding that in
their
too.
physical medical needs
Because a
met
lot of
as
them
well.
just, don't, they live under bridges. And I always say when they come to me,
Mm.
whoever say, I'm going to grow up and be a drug addict. Nobody wants to be a
Right.
drug addict.
Right. Right.
This is something that has happened. They don't even understand why. And when you start telling them and they really trust your spirit,
Right.
it's amazing what they'll tell you because they know you care.
Mm.
And that's what it is, caring love. is what they need.
Wow. And like you say, many of them, when you're dealing with addiction, how, I'll put it like this, how deep does it get? Is there another place they can go to detox, or what is,
So depending on what they're dealing with,
okay.
if somebody is so addicted that a lot of times they have to go to detox. So they have different places that are inpatients, and they'll go there for 7 to 10 days. And in this place, they'll go there, and then they'll come out to outpatient, and then we'll start educating them on addiction and what's going on. And some of them may take Suboxone, some of them may take Vivitrol. To help them.
And you said Suboxone, that deals with the blocker. Am I correct? Yeah.
And that's still, with Suboxone, is still addicting. So you try to take them.
All right.
Vivitrol isn't, and it's a one shot, but a lot of them don't want that.
Well, what is the reason that they don't want?
Well, I think a lot of times they'll say they're allergic to them, but sometimes it's because they want to take the Suboxone themselves. It's a real big thing. Because it gets you high too. I was in prison. I was wondering why all these people were buying Suboxone, and it's because once you're in there, you're not doing anything, and you take it, it kind of gets you to where you want to be. But then also, some of them are in there, and they need Suboxone. They'll come in there, and they're withdrawn from heroin, from fentanyl now.
Okay.
And they really do need that Suboxone because they're sick. So it helps you give it to them.
Because it's such a painful process.
Absolutely.
Am I correct?
Absolutely.
And so this will lessen it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It lessens the withdrawal pain.
Right.
Okay.
And like with an addiction, if they're going through withdrawal, they're sick, they can't get up, they have diarrhea. Wow. When a codependent is going through the withdrawal, that third stage, they're depressed, they don't want to work, they can't eat. They think it's because they're in love, but they don't know it's because they're getting rid of those toxins that they should be getting rid of anyway. So they go back and get another man. That's why you see so many women with relationships after relationships.
Right. And young girls, it's sad to say, but sometimes I hate, it hurts to see if I have a baby by this guy, then he'll be with me. Then that doesn't work. Well, I'll have a baby by this one.
Right.
And it goes on and on.
I know, it's sad.
And then things are so deep, you almost don't have a life.
That's right, because now you got all these babies. No baby.
Then what you do?
That's why this has to be taught in schools before these kids get to that age. Because if you don't know, you don't know. I mean, if your normal is abnormal to somebody else, that's your normal. I grew up and this is what my mama did, this is what my daddy did, this is what my auntie did. So this is the
lifestyle.
Now you want me to be normal? This is all I know. So it's hard to come out of that cocoon. It's hard.
Wow.
It's hard. It's like I always say, it's like a butterfly. You have this cocoon, and it's gooey, and it's thick, and it's dark, and you don't like it. And so when you come up and see the light, it's too bright, so you go back in. I can't handle all that light. It's a process.
It's
if you have somebody work, absolutely.
It's comfortable.
Your uncomfort has been your comfortable.
Out, and I know you know this, working in the prisons. Some they become so adjusted. In other words, comfort and chaos. It's okay.
Absolutely.
They're so adjusted to this environment that they come out and go right back in because they can't handle a new norm.
Right.
Or I have no dream. I have no hope. I have no plans.
Right. It's sad, but true.
Wow.
It's true. And so the Lord told me, He said, I want you to do a curriculum for the men. Okay. Because I do women because women is my passion. But I also know that there's some men that are locked up behind bars because they're little boys trying to be men, didn't have the father, didn't know what to do, didn't know how to act. And so they need to understand what has happened also. Wow. And find out how, if they want to get through that.
And it's amazing. I've seen this, that men that have not been raised maybe with a father, and especially a positive father image, they are kind of intimidated when another man give them that man, I should say, that man up talk or that man firmness. Right. They will come and and they'll hear it a lot better from a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Even if a woman roars a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
they'll hear it a lot better.
Right.
And maybe God is saying you might have to step in and be that mother image
Mm-hmm.
somewhat,
Mm-hmm.
Just in other words, I'm used to my mom
Mm-hmm.
talking to me, so maybe you can be that person
Mm-hmm.
that they will listen to your voice
And
a
I've
lot
had a lot
easier.
of men clients tell me, if my mother just would have loved me, I didn't get that
Wow.
hug, or I watched my mother get beat a lot, or, it's a lot
Mm.
of things that these young men
Mm.
have seen, and it's a reason that that's all they know how to act.
Right.
So, trauma lives in the body. So you grow up and you're watching all this, then all of a sudden you're doing it, and people think you're crazy. But this is all I know to do. This is what I saw, even if
I'm
I don't
living
want
what
to.
you're right.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's why exposure
that's
is
right.
so educational.
Mm-hmm.
I know with our young people, we talk a lot and have had opportunity over the years, and it's just been carrying them to California, like 50 or more deep,
Mm-hmm.
just flying out, and
Mm-hmm.
and we used to have the voices of joy,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of them had never left Dayton.
Yeah.
But now I'm just so grateful to see them all over the country and some out of the
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
They're ministering, they're loving God. And the exposure right
Mm-hmm.
now. I know it's a different day and I should say a lot of new entities.
Mm-hmm.
But God is the same
Yes, he is.
yesterday, today, and
Yes,
forevermore.
he is.
And I know He is trying to show us a path.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely,
And
he
I
is.
believe you are definitely a part of that path. And I said that we would like to even come back and
Mm-hmm.
have you back again. And I would like to have what we call like a panel.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to do that, put that together with some millennials. Let's
Mm-hmm.
talk about
Mm-hmm.
what things look like from their world.
Right, right.
What has gone on and why are we drawn this way or that?
Mm-hmm.
See, because years ago, we didn't have to worry about Facebook
Right,
and Instagram and
right,
TikTok, and
right.
that was not at all. But
Mm-hmm.
now it's like that's their world,
It is.
and I've got to look the part. I've got to do what is
Right,
the
right,
quote unquote
right.
thing that will draw someone to me.
Mm-hmm.
And many times it's a toxic
Right.
relationship.
Absolutely, absolutely. And see, and another person can see that. They know what you want. They know how to validate you. They know what to say. Because of
Wow.
course brokenness attracts brokenness. So they see you over there dressing like this and doing this and knowing this,
They
and they
know.
say
They know.
everything you want to hear to validate you. And then the next thing you know, you're sucked in.
And I look at young ladies, I'm just saying, um, when I've got to wear something so seductive that leaves nothing to the imagination. And when it gets really sad, it's when your mom and your grandmom's doing the same thing.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, Granny
yeah.
is looking like
But
that.
that tells you that generation. That's why she's doing it.
And I'm asking, what
It
happened
tells
to
you.
all the mirrors in the house?
Right.
Obviously, there's none
Hmm.
because somebody can't see
They learn.
themselves.
They learn from what they're taught. I tell people, I said, if you put a baby in the woods with a dog, when that baby grow up, she gonna bark, she gonna crawl like a dog, because that's all she's been taught. So
Right.
you get up, stop acting like a dog. Don't. Wow, Mama, what I supposed to do? I mean, it's real.
We all
you
dogs.
know. So that's why it's and that's why it says don't ask a person what's wrong with them. Ask them what happened because you already know. I mean,
All
it's that
right.
generational thing. It's sad, but it's true.
And then we have to come from, and I know you know, and it's been a learning process for
Mm-hmm.
me from a non judgmental
Absolutely.
place and space.
And it's so easy to not judge when you've been through some part of that.
Yes.
And I think with my clients when I talk to them and I tell them how I got through this and how they're looking at you because yeah. And
Yeah.
God said, if you want me to use you, you
Hmm.
must talk. You must tell people. You must help
That's right.
people. All these books, he wrote this stuff. I'm not right.
Right.
And so when they see that, it's like, I mean, I could be happy for real by myself. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And so they want that. I want what you got. They want it when they see it.
And keep it covered,
Hmm.
you know,
Hmm.
for my image.
Right.
But when we are transparent before the Lord,
Mm-hmm.
it means the world.
Yes.
And I know, just sharing a little bit, and I'm going to have you share your books and how we can find them and your website. But the one thing that I feel was a learning experience for me, my husband had gone to Africa and he left me with his Lexus key. That key disappeared. And I was like, where did I put his key? Could not find it for the world. And it was funny that I had looked all over. He called back, hey, Bev, if you need something, just go in the trunk. And, oh, I'm all right. He should have known something was wrong. If you need a check, you need some money, I'm good. He should have known something was wrong. Well, I'm looking everywhere and I'm saying, God, to buy another laser key, and what kind of time period I mean, I was bringing, something said, look in the trash. Well, there was a big bag over there, and we were about to take it out. Said, look in the trash. I was like, I wanted to look at the top of it. I said, don't see the key. Something said, go all the way to the bottom. I had to actually put some gloves on, go to the yuck. Finally, you get desperate. I went all the way to the bottom. There was this key. And how did it get in there? I couldn't tell you. Was in the muck and the slime of the bottom of that trash. When I took it out, I was like, and it was a lesson the Lord wanted to tell me. He said, the key to victory and helping others is in the trashy places of your life.
I like that. Oh, that's so deep.
And I was
like, so deep.
I was like,
that's right.
Okay, God.
That's right.
In the places you don't want to share.
That's right.
In the ugly places. In something that they knew about me, maybe they wouldn't like me anymore. God has said, if you'll be transparent, absolutely, then I can heal. If you reveal it, I can heal it. That's right. Then I can seal it. That's right. So we serve such an awesome God that just loves us. So he will do it. And so if you can just share some of these books that God's given you and what's going on with that.
So let's see. My one book that I have is called From Poverty to Prosperity. I don't have that one with me. I couldn't find it.
From Poverty to Prosperity, and I'm sure they can go on Amazon and get that one.
Or on my website.
Your website. Okay.
This one is Stop the Storm Now, Rise and Walk in Your Divine Purpose. And this book I wrote when I was on a cruise. I was on that, I forget what cruise, it was a storm, and it was just water everywhere.
Wow.
I forget the name of it, and I was trying to get out of there, and God said, you're safe.
I like that.
And he says, and then he said, name your book that. So that, and my grandson does all my books.
I like that.
So that's that one, Stop the Storm Now. And then this one is Recognizing the Love Trap. And in this book, I talk about the stages of narcissists, the types of narcissists, the types of codependency. And the reason the Lord told me, get a heart and wrap it with chains. Because when you're in a narcissistic relationship, you feel like you can't breathe. It's really toxic.
Wow.
And this one, people, when people, and I always write short and powerful books, because people want to read it.
That's good, right.
And so then people were saying, well, what do we do? How do we get out of this? So then the Lord said, do a workbook. And this is the one that Covenant Books is publishing. So the Lord told me, he said, I want you to let somebody else publish your books, because I want this book to go worldwide. And I was like, well, who can do it? He said, just research it. So I did 3. All 3 of them wanted it.
Okay.
So I said, what do I do now? And he said, choose Covenant. So Covenant did this one. So this is the workbook. And the reason I did it is I want people to know that you can be transformed. It's called Divine Core Transformation, Self-Love Breakthrough to a New You. And this is just not only for people in prison. It's for people outside of here that's in prison in their own homes. So this is a workbook. Then I have this book, which is a 30-day self-love book, where people can look at this book and write something about themselves every day. So that's my book. So it could be found on my website.
They can go on your website and see these books. And awesome.
Absolutely.
What a blessing.
And my grandson, I'm so proud of him. He did every one of them. I mean, I was like, I need something that's the antidote, self-love, and a perfume.
Wow.
And he was like, yeah. So I'm proud of him.
Yes.
God wrote him.
You are blessed. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. It has just been a blessing, a privilege, and just to have you with us.
Thank you.
Dr. Rhonda.
It's been a blessing.
You have been a wealth of information, and I'm hoping that people will share this video, will share the YouTube, tell them, come on, go on your page, go on my page. We want to help women and men and our young people. They need to hear this early.
Yes.
If they hear it early, it's a lot of things they don't have to walk into.
Absolutely. Or they can recognize.
Oh, right. There you go. They can recognize it before it gets, before you hit stage 2.
Absolutely.
And definitely before stage 3.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So I want to just encourage you to go to the website, to invite people to come in. God's doing an awesome thing in the midst of the challenges, in the midst of the storm. We're seeing the peace. And believe me, there are, like they say, you want my story, you want my glory, but you don't know my story.
That's right.
And this is what Dr. Rhonda is saying. God will take us through it, and guess what? And he will give his blessings to us.
That's right.
Yes, he will.
Amen.
And so what we're going to do is, instead of focusing on these generational curses, God spoke to me and said, call in the generational blessings.
Right.
They're all in the atmosphere. All the prayers that grandma prayed, that others prayed, they're there. And all we got to do is pull them into ourselves. So as Dr. Rhonda is closing us out in prayer, I want you, along with myself, we're going to just pull in God's love, his generational blessings, and release the angels of God to intervene on our behalf.
Yeah.
All right.
Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for letting me be here today with Dr. Bev to do this talk, because God is so needed.
Yes.
God, I'm asking you to open up people's minds, God. Let them know that the generational curses are blessings that can be turned around. God, let them stop shaming and blaming people and help us to change people, God. Let us come together and know that with you, there's nothing we can't do, God.
In the name
God,
of Jesus,
we're just thanking you.
We thank you.
Thanking you.
We glorify
you right now.
In the name
for everything that you're getting ready to do. In the name of Jesus. Amen.
Praise God. Thank you, Dr. Rhonda. And you all stay tuned, because I'm going to believe God that we're going to put this panel together and invite our millennials in and really just answer questions. And we want to do it on a live, and we're going to ask the opportunity how we can set it up. Pastor Al and others, we can set it up where you can actually even ask questions and we can answer them right there online. Would you like that? I believe you would. God bless you. Remember, we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. He's blessed us not to fail, but to do what? Succeed. God bless you.